The blizzard swallowed everything. It buried the roads beneath fresh snow, erased every footprint, and drowned out the distant fireworks celebrating the new year. By midnight, the small Russian town looked abandoned. No headlights, no voices, just endless white. The only place still glowing was a tiny convenience store on the edge of town. Locals simply called it the corner shop. Inside, warm yellow lights reflected off rows of vodka bottles and cheap holiday decorations. Nadia, the night cashier, sighed as she looked through the frosted window. Across from her sat the store's only customer, an old drunk named Sasha Sevlev. Everyone knew him. Everyone called him Radio because he never stopped talking. "You should head home, Sasha," Nadia said. "Nobody should be out in this weather." He laughed and adjusted his crooked glasses. "And miss celebrating New Year's with the prettiest woman in town?" Nadia rolled her eyes. "You've already had too much." "I've had exactly enough." He pulled a few crumpled bills from his pocket and placed them on the counter. "I got my holiday bonus today. Give me another bottle and get yourself something too. I'm working." "Who's coming out in this storm?" She hesitated. He wasn't wrong. Outside, the blizzard had erased the entire town. For the first time that night, the silence felt wrong. She grabbed a bottle of martini, orange juice, plastic cups, a few smoked sausages, and 2 mandarins. "Happy New Year!" She smiled. They clinked their cups. The television in the corner counted down the final seconds before midnight. 10, 9, 8. Outside, something moved through the snow. Neither of them noticed. The clock struck midnight. "Happy New Year!" the TV host shouted. Outside, colorful fireworks briefly lit up the swirling snow. Nadia smiled. Sasha raised his plastic cup for a better year. They drank for a few moments. Everything felt normal. Then, the TV flickered. The image dissolved into gray static. Nadia frowned and reached for the remote. "Come on." "Not tonight." The screen suddenly returned, but it wasn't showing the New Year's concert anymore. Instead, it showed the store. Their store. From outside, as if someone were standing across the road filming the front entrance. Nadia slowly looked toward the window. Nothing, just snow. She looked back at the television. The camera on the screen wasn't moving. It simply stared at the building. Sasha leaned closer. "Is that some kind of prank?" "I don't know." Then a figure appeared, far away, barely visible through the blizzard. Tall, motionless, standing in the middle of the road. The image on the television crackled. The figure was suddenly closer. No footsteps. No movement. Just closer. Nadia's stomach tightened. She rushed to the window. The road outside was empty. There was no one there. She turned back toward the television. Its face couldn't be seen beneath the blowing snow. The figure now stood directly in front of the store entrance. Only a dark silhouette. Watching, waiting, then. Neither of them moved. The knocking came again, slower this time, louder. Neither of them spoke. The figure remained outside, perfectly still. Then it smiled, not with its face, with something beneath the snow. A grin that shouldn't have been possible. Nadia instinctively took a step back. Sasha whispered, "Don't open the door." "I'm not planning to." The knocking stopped. For several seconds, there was only the wind. Then every light inside the store flickered at once. The refrigerators hummed louder. The fluorescent lights pulsed overhead. The TV exploded into static again. This time, a voice came through. Soft, distorted, almost impossible to understand. "Let me in." Nadia grabbed the remote and muted the TV. The voice kept talking. It wasn't coming from the speakers anymore. It was coming from outside. The same whisper drifted through the blizzard. "Let me in." Sasha slowly stood up. His usual smile was gone. "I've lived here my whole life," he said quietly. "My grandfather always warned me, if something calls to you during a snowstorm, never invite it inside." Nadia stared at him. "You actually believe that?" Before he could answer, the front door rattled. Once, twice. Then it stopped. The lock hadn't moved. No one had opened it, but somehow the figure was no longer standing outside. Nadia looked through the window. The road was empty. Snow continued falling. Nothing else. Then Sasha's face went pale. Very slowly. He pointed toward the security monitor behind the counter. The camera facing the stockroom had turned on by itself. Someone was standing inside. Neither of them took their eyes off the monitor. The stockroom camera showed a single figure standing perfectly still between the shelves. It was impossibly tall. Its head nearly touched the ceiling. Its body was hidden beneath what looked like a long winter coat, soaked from the snow. But something wasn't right. It wasn't breathing. It wasn't moving. It simply stood there. Nadia whispered, "That's impossible. The back door is locked." Sasha didn't answer. He grabbed a heavy metal pipe that was leaning beside a stack of crates. "If it's a man, we'll throw him out. If it isn't." He never finished the sentence. The lights suddenly went out. Darkness swallowed the store. Only the emergency exit sign cast a faint red glow across the room. The refrigerators fell silent. Outside, even the wind seemed to disappear. Then one step, another. Coming from the stockroom, Nadia held her breath. The footsteps stopped directly behind the swinging door. Neither of them dared move. Then the television turned back on by itself. Its bright light filled the room. The security camera was still live. The stockroom was empty. The figure had vanished. Nadia slowly looked away from the screen. The swinging stockroom door moved once, very gently, as if someone had just walked through it. A second later, one of the empty metal carts slowly rolled out of the darkness by itself. It stopped beside the checkout counter. Inside the cart lay a frozen bouquet of dead flowers, covered in fresh snow. Sasha stared at it without blinking. Then he quietly whispered, "It came inside." Neither of them moved. The shopping cart stood beside the register. The dead flowers were still covered in fresh snow. Then, one by one, the store's automatic lights came back on. The red emergency glow disappeared. For a brief second, everything looked normal again. Nadia almost laughed from relief. Then she noticed something. The snow on the floor, it stretched from the front entrance, past the checkout, straight toward the stockroom, as if someone had walked inside without leaving footprints outside. Sasha tightened his grip on the metal pipe. "Stay behind me." They slowly followed the trail. Every step echoed through the silent store. The stockroom door was slightly open. Cold air poured through the gap, much colder than the winter outside. Sasha pushed the door open. Inside, every shelf had been overturned. Boxes were scattered across the floor. The freezer doors hung wide open. And written across the back wall, in thick layers of frost, were 3 words: "Let me in." Nadia felt her knees weaken. Then something moved above them. Both of them looked up, clinging to the ceiling. Hidden in the darkness was the creature, its impossibly long limbs wrapped around the pipes, its pale body bent at unnatural angles. Its mouth slowly opened, stretching far wider than any human face could. Then it smiled, not at Sasha, not at Nadia, at the security camera watching from the corner. The lights exploded, glass shattered, shelves crashed to the floor. Sasha grabbed Nadia's arm. Run! They sprinted through the store as something enormous slammed onto the tiles behind them. Neither of them dared look back. They burst through the front entrance into the freezing night. Behind them, the creature never crossed the doorway. It simply stood inside the ruined store. Watching them disappear into the blizzard, the police arrived just before sunrise. By then, the creature was gone. Only the destroyed entrance remained. The officers questioned Nadia and Sasha separately. Neither of them could explain what had happened. The security cameras should have had all the answers. But every recording from midnight until dawn had been erased. Not corrupted, not damaged, simply gone. The only footage that survived showed the store exactly 1 minute before midnight. Nothing unusual, just two people celebrating New Year's Eve. No stranger, no broken windows, nothing. A few hours later, investigators searched the snow around the store. There were footprints leading to the entrance. Only one set. They belonged to a man wearing heavy winter boots. The tracks stopped right outside the front door. There were no footprints leading away. It was as if whoever stood there simply disappeared. The case was quietly closed a few weeks later. Official cause: vandalism by an unknown person. Nobody believed that explanation. Not Nadia, not Sasha, not the police officers who saw the inside of the store that morning. Sasha never spent another New Year's Eve outside his apartment. A year later, he died in his sleep. Nadia quit her job a few days after the incident. The store stayed empty for months before someone bought it. The new owners completely renovated the building. New shelves, new windows, new floors. Everything changed. Everything except one thing. The old security monitor behind the counter. The electrician couldn't figure out why it still powered on from time to time. Even after being disconnected, sometimes very late at night, the screen flickers to life. It shows the empty store, snow falling outside the front door, and a tall figure standing perfectly still, waiting for someone to let it in.